Well, Florida farmers lost around $500 million worth of crops this spring as COVID-19 closed schools and restaurants. Southeast Produce Weekly's Chip Carter brings us an update from the region.
Money is on everybody's minds right now. In these times of crisis, we're wondering, where's it going to go? Where's it going to come from? I talked with Roland Fumasi. He's a senior analyst for RaboResearch division of Rabo AgriFinance. COVID-19 has already reshaped the food supply chain. So where's it all heading next, and what will the impact ultimately be?
We're figuring that during the lockdowns, 60 to 65% of food service sales are lost. When you think about something like fresh produce, a lot of those items being non-storable or highly perishable, it really wreaked havoc on the value chain. Things have smoothed out a bit on the logistics and the cold chain side of things, but you still have crops that were planted weeks or months ago that originally had a home at food service. And there's nothing we can do with most of these crops that if we can't find a home at retail, you end up just having to walk away from them.
So what will the overall impact be on pricing for consumers? That's a moving target.
When I think about the Great Recession, fresh produce sales held up pretty darn well. We've had this big trend toward healthfulness, and especially given this environment, right? This is a pandemic that has caused this thing. So I think consumers now are even more aware of the importance of eating healthful type foods. And so that tends to play well for the fresh produce aisle. Any specific type of food where there's a restriction or constriction, I should say, of supply, then would have a tendency to raise prices to the consumer. So for something like fresh produce, there should be no supply restriction out there. So that's not gonna, there's not gonna be that supply side force to drive prices up. But also keep in mind when you're talking about something like fresh produce, that there are other supply side shocks that can impact it. Always weather is the big risk that's always looming out there. We have to remember that COVID-19 is not the only force going on that's pushing supply and demand around all the time. We have all these traditional forces and issues that are still occurring all around us. And that's important to remind everybody.
Reporting from home, I'm Chip Carter from SoutheastProduceWeekly.com, reporting for RFD-TV.
Thanks for the update, Chip. Now we'll continue this conversation today. That'll be at 11:30 Eastern here on the Market Day Report.